We're live. Welcome. What's today? Thursday. I think my internet just cut out for a second. You like froze completely.
We love tech.
Uh, I am joined by the lovely Coach Charity.
Yay.
The heavens are singing. Today we're going to be talking about using the three G's to unlock your motivation and happiness. So starting us off, Charity, what are the three G's?
All right, so
And
the
we'll
three
talk
G's
why
for
are they
today are
important.
glimmers, gratitude, and grace in no particular order.
So I am already very interested to know what a glimmer is. What
Okay,
can you define a glimmer?
sure.
What
It's
it-
the
what the heck is
opposite of a
that?
trigger, basically, put into very simple
Hmm,
stuff. It's the thing that sparks joy and gives you a moment of happiness, and you can find it wherever. So they're like glitter sprinkled throughout your day, as long as you're looking for them.
can you give me what would be an example of glimmer of like a glimmer?
Anything like today, my glimmers so far were the way the sun's rays were coming through the clouds as I was driving to take my kids to pick up and drop off. Glimmers could be keep flowers in my house because they bring sparks joy and brings me happiness. Some
Okay,
people it's music. Some people it's smiles from other people, hugs and things like that. I mean, it could be literally anything and everything, and no matter how big
interesting.
or small.
So why do glimmers matter? Why should I care about glimmers
Because what
or
you put
try
your
to
attention on
incorporate them
grows.
in my life?
Because what you put your attention on grows. So the things, if you look for the
Okay,
positive, you'll find more of the positive, and it uplifts your spirits and your moods and keeps your mindset in a happy place. So you're more likely to make the changes that you need to because you'll have the energy and motivation for it.
okay, cool. So it's kind of like this idea of priming almost, where it's
Mhm.
like if I have good input going in, it creates good thinking, and that
Mhm.
leads me to become a good finder, as you said,
Mhm.
and that leads to more happiness and motivation to go do more things. Okay, I like that. What would be some examples? I know you said glimmer for you would be like being in the sun, or some others. I apologize.
Mine's nature, a lot of them, but some people
Nature.
it's
Okay,
music, some people it's other
music.
people, physical touch and contact. All those, anything is good.
Very interesting.
Mhm.
Myra says hi. Mara, am I saying that right? Mara says hi. Gloria says hi. What's going on, guys? Good to see you. As we go, feel free if you have any questions for Coach Charity, we will be taking the time to answer them as well. So, okay, so we got glimmers. That's the first G. What's the second G?
We could do grace if you want.
What is grace to you?
Grace is being kind to yourself. Sometimes you don't always make the best decisions, and it's giving yourself grace, realizing where you might have done something or you could have done something differently, and then just moving forward from it. It also is wrapped up with forgiveness, too, if you prefer that word.
So, why is grace important? Why why should we practice grace? It seems like I know in uh, today's maybe culture in America, we tend to be hypercritical, of ourselves. But why is grace going to help us?
Well, I'm not sure how far hypercritical has gotten us. I don't think we necessarily make the most positive of changes when we're coming from a negative place. And also, I think grace is good for you to just move onward. Sometimes you can't fix everything and you just have to step over it. So, grace is one of those wonderful things to just kind of help you do that.
Awesome. So I guess like if we're thinking of a topic for today, it's really like this is all about mindset. This is all about the
Mhm.
psychology. So
Right.
it's like how can we change the way potentially we're viewing things? How can we put new actions in place that make us feel better? And we're not becoming more motivated because we're doing something, we'll say, revolutionary. We're more just getting ourselves into the right mental space to reduce resistance, it sounds
Mhm.
like. So it's
Yep.
easier to move forward. Okay, that's
Mhm.
interesting. So we have grace or forgiveness for ourselves. We have glimmers. And then what was the last thing? What was the last G?
Gratitude.
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 Why is gratitude important?
Because again, the more you focus on the things that you want, the more that you bring into your life and the more that you see them.
Interesting. What would be an example that you use for gratitude? How do
Some
you
people
practice
have a
gratitude?
gratitude practice, like in the morning, as soon as they wake up, they just write through things or just think about some things that they're thankful for. It's a nice way to bookend your day. So have a little gratitude in the morning and a little gratitude before you go to bed. So you're falling asleep with a smile on your face. And it's just a fantastic way to just remember, because I think sometimes when we're so busy being human doings, we forget to be in the moments that are here for us, where the present is. And that's the only place where happiness lies. And gratitude is a great place to, or a great way to bring you back to the present and the
Hmm.
here and now.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting. I think that that hits upon something really profound that we talk a lot about, and that is this. Oh, where is it? It is this. Ba. It is this. Why isn't it sharing? It's weird. Man, I was so excited, and then it's oh, there it goes. Wait, we got it. It is this. Yeah, there we go. Uh, and it's the you know, the loop, if you will, right? Input, thinking, actions, results. So if we want to be able to change, or let's see, this isn't the exact one. I guess this would be the closest one. But thinking changes our actions change our results, and our results change our thinking, right? For better or worse.
Yep.
It's a it's a vicious cycle where we keep getting worse, or it's a virtuous cycle where we keep getting better.
Mhm.
And really, these three G's today, glimmers, grace, and
Gratitude and grace.
gratitude, are changing our thinking, which changes our actions, which changes our results, without bringing us onto a insanity loop. And the insanity loop is, you know, when we're thinking about transforming our body, a lot of people don't start with their thinking. What do they start with? Actions, right? Just tell me what to do. Tell me what to do. Tell me what to do. And the problem with that is when we don't focus on the underlying, we'll say, control center of your body, then we just do actions and we ignore thinking. We essentially are stuck in insanity. Now, why did they call it insanity? The definition of insanity is to do the
Doing
same
the same
thing
thing,
and
thinking.
expect a different result.
Right.
Right. So it's like if we want to be able to break through from this insanity loop and we want to be able to transform our body and sustain it forever, it truly does start in the mind. How, when and I don't know if this is a if this question will go anywhere, but before I ask it, we actually had a comment come in. Lori says, "Miss you guys." Lori, we're here. No need to miss us anymore. We're right here. When did it become apparent to you, Charity, that the mind or that your thinking determined so much of your and your client's success for long-term results? When did that become apparent to you?
I think in little ways and in big ways. I guess my most obvious example, I guess I can think of, is when I got diagnosed with MS. I could decide to
Hmm.
run away from a wheelchair, or I could decide to move towards something. And so it was just a different mindset. It's not I have to do something, I get to do something. And just playing around with words, because I think they're so much fun, but they
Mhm.
make such a big mental shift inside of your head. And so even just like talking to an apple, if you say positive things to it, it doesn't change colors, but if you say negative, it changes. And that, how can you not think that our bodies wouldn't be the exact same way?
Talk to me a little bit more about your MS diagnosis.
Oh,
So
I got it when
when
I
you
was
were
27.
Mhm.
And so it was just, I don't know. It was a big mayhem in my life, but instead I decided to just be like, you know what, maybe this is my body's way of saying you need to do something different. Maybe what you're doing is not working for you. And so let's just try something new. And it sounds
send
so simple, and I make it sound very flippant, and it wasn't that easy, but I think the
right.
biggest shift was the mindset, because again, I could be choosing to run away from this disease or to be scared of it or what's going to happen to me, just like this fear cycle. But instead, I was like, what if I could come up with something? And it's just a mindset shift to tell myself, no, you know what? Maybe I could see this as an opportunity. I could see this as a way, like a calling, to just be like, hey, something needs to shift and change in your life. And that's okay. See where that's even grace gets played in that, right? So I'm not berating myself for getting sick. It's like, you know what? This was a wake up call. What are we going to do now? How do we adjust? What's my next best step? And so mine was switching my mindset.
That's powerful.
Mhm.
So I have a bunch of questions from there, but one of them is how has changing your thinking to more of these, we'll call them the three G's, and changing our outlook on life, how has that reduced the effects of MS, or has it changed how your MS has expressed itself? Has it reduced
I
the
think it's made me feel more
intensity?
empowered. I didn't feel like
Okay.
a victim of a disease or having to go to the doctors and expecting them to have answers. So for me, it helped me
Mm,
understand, like, to listen to my body. Oh, this really doesn't make me feel very good. Or, oh, this one seems to really work. And my path ended up being more yoga and mindfulness because I needed to calm the down. I just needed to calm down back in the day. And so I think that was where kind of mine started, and it continues to go because it's a practice. And every day is an opportunity to learn.
yeah,
Mhm.
that's interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's interesting. So for you, I mean, this is, at least at this point in your life, I mean, you're at the point that you feel great with your body, you feel great with, your sustainability.
Mhm.
It's more at this point, how can you trying to think of how to describe that. How you can bring yourself to the best place mentally to just keep moving forward, because it's less about like you already have the main result you want physically. So now it's more of a mental game for you, it sounds
Mhm.
like.
Right.
Yeah. And do you feel like it starts as a mental game as well? Like, do you feel like a question, if you were meeting yourself when you were 22, before you were diagnosed with MS,
Mhm.
what is the advice that you would give your younger self, 22, I would imagine stressed out, wanting to change their body, wanting to change really their feeling? What would be your advice to them
I think that's
or
common
her?
in your 20s though, right? It's like that's when you're really starting you think you can change the world, and you forget it starts with changing yourself, right?
Yes.
And so I think I would honestly, I don't know that I would have told her anything. She needed to do exactly what she did. And if I came from the future and I told her something different, she might alter the way that she did it because I'm still kind of surprised because I was a person who grew up very military style household, very religious. You didn't ask questions. And for me to question a doctor and just be like, I hear what you're saying. I respect your medical opinion. I'm not going to do that right now. I still can't believe I did it. So I don't know that I would tell her anything. I think mostly though, for anybody, is just listen to your gut. Like your body knows. If you give
Mm,
it the time, it will heal itself and your body knows what you need. You just have to listen.
interesting. Why don't you feel like people listen to their body?
They
Or
have
why
too
don't you
much
feel
else
like
to
you
listen to.
or same question, why don't you feel like you listen to your body? Okay, so what do you
Right.
mean by that? They have too much
I
to
I
listen
think we
to
have a
for
lot
you
of
to
social media. We have a lot of news telling us eggs are great today, eggs are not great the next day. We just have so much conflicting information that's coming in that we don't take the time. Some people, eggs are great for them. Some people, it's not. But we don't always take the time to be like, what is working for me? What does feel good? What are these glimmers that make me happy and bring me joy? How can I add more of that? And then you're crowding out the things that are less than desirable, just like we do with the way that we want you to nourish your body.
it's funny, I have been on this quest recently in my personal life that's similar to what you're describing, this idea of less is more. And whenever I say that, it reminds me of those paper towel commercials for Charbon or toilet paper. Unrelated, but this idea that when you do less, you have more,
Mhm.
and that doesn't necessarily mean physically, but that means maybe emotionally. If you want more motivation or you want more happiness, sometimes we just need to do less and let go, which is an
Mhm.
interesting thought.
It feels counterintuitive, right?
Yes.
Yeah, but it's true. Like it's a great paradox. It's usually the best things are. That yeah, the more you decide to choose what you want, the less you have, but the more you have of other things, the more happiness, the more lightness. Your things don't own you anymore because you've been really selective, and it just like sprinkles and ripples out into the rest of your world.
Yes, and like to that extent too, not to go too far off that topic, but I feel like it's in the same vein is like, I feel like especially in today's social media age, we're all attached more than ever to status. So it's like driving a nicer car, having a nicer house,
Mm.
having things so that we can keep up with the Joneses or feel good amongst our friend group when
Mm.
really none of that really makes us happy
Mhm.
to the deep level that we want. And that happiness that you want on a deep level comes from what? Inner peace? if you will.
Glimmers, gratitude,
Glimmers,
grace.
gratitudes, and grace. Hey, the three G's.
Yay.
That's
Just
interesting.
little
So,
things, right? And again, I think it's grounding in the present because that's
so
where happiness is. You can't happy yourself forward in the future. You can't happy yourself
sure.
back into the past. Just right here is where happiness is. And that's why we
So,
practice.
so if you had someone like, let's just say, obviously we don't necessarily do this with clients because we know that we have to get somebody immediate results so they create positive feedback loops, right? We can't just like even though we might know that like, hey, if we want to focus on if we have no time horizon and we want to focus on the next 20 years, we're going to start with thinking. It's kind of like the idea of Master Miyagi, right? The Karate Kid. Why did Master Miyagi have Daniel do like he's cleaning the car, wax
Mhm,
on, wax off, and
mhm.
doing all this stuff where he's like, "Yo, I just want to punch somebody in the face. Tell me
Right.
how to punch. Tell me how to kick." That's kind of similar to what sometimes people have as a mentality coming into transforming their body. It's like, cool, what's the new thing? What's the secret, right?
Mhm,
Tell me what it is. But really, if we want to be able to make this last forever, it's wax on, wax off. Become a master of our mind. Become a master of self, and then everything else becomes so much easier, right? Because if we were doing our jobs right, and we were servicing our clients, we they should never need a coach after us. Why? Because they've learned more about themselves during the process than they did about anything else pertaining to the mechanics of weight loss.
right.
Because like the fact of the matter is, we know a lot of the stuff. All of us know a lot of the stuff we need to do,
Mhm,
but we're not doing it. And that's a perfect example of getting stuck in the insanity loop. What do I need to do? And then you get results, and then but then you don't stay consistent. So you go back and you just keep going back and forth. We want to be able to break through this loop. It only happens when we change our thinking.
mhm.
That's powerful stuff. So my question, I got a LOL in the comments. Someone liked that analogy. Lori Jackson. Glad you like that. Shout out to the Karate Kid in the comments. um, but so if someone's starting out, what is more important for long-term results, not short-term, long-term results? If we were looking out years, is it more important that they start exercising day one, or is it more important that they start essentially exercising the mind day one and start getting the thinking right?
Exercising the mind, going down to the root cause of whatever's happening and your thoughts
Yeah,
behind it.
which is uncomfortable, huh?
Oh, yeah, it's not one of those fun, "Let's go run around and frolic in the sunshine." There's some dark places in there, that inner child work, it depends, or shadow work on how you decide to talk about it, but if you don't go to that root cause, these things are gonna continue to happen. And one of the
Yeah.
things I think that's really cool is if you get to that root cause, imagine 10 years, 15 years from now, your body's likely to change, right? So you don't have to
Mm,
come back, I mean, you can, but to get a coach or anything, because you already know, oh, I know how to adjust accordingly because I still have great awareness with my body, and I can change my path and adjust the way I need to.
yes. Yeah, that's really profound.
Mhm.
That's really profound. I appreciate you talking about this today.
Yay, of course, anytime, like literally anytime. And I could come up with some fun acronyms. Those are my favorite. And alliterations, awesome alliterations light me up. So it's all good.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Uh, and as we'll do some closing thoughts in a second. If you guys are here, feel free to ask a question in the comments for Charity or for myself. We're here. Feel free to like this video if you liked it. If you didn't like it, let me know in the comments too. Absolutely
Mhm.
berate us. Let us know a topic that you want
Yes.
me or us to cover. Charity, what would be some final thoughts? What are some action steps? Like, all right, somebody's watching this video. They're like, hey, I want motivation and happiness. What is one like, what's the biggest lever? What's the simplest thing somebody can do that takes the least amount of time that's going to make the biggest impact on their thinking that will set them up for long-term results?
Take a deep breath and go find a glimmer. And
Okay, I did step
that could be
one.
your glimmer, right? Just having that deep breath. Your posture's better now. You can step into your next action with it powered.
Okay, so I did the breath.
Mhm.
Now, what would be a glimmer? Like what's the easiest thing to look for?
You
Like
can look
for a
at yourself,
glimmer.
find something about yourself that you like. Aren't you grateful for your hands today and all the things that they've done for you? I mean, it can be something as small as that. Or washing your hands is a really great practice. Thankful
It's
for running
funny
water.
it's funny you say that because it depending on what state of mind I'm in determines how I receive that. Like
Mhm.
in this moment right now, I think of that and I'm like, that's silly. Right. And I'm like, I'm not going to do that.
I like your defiance.
Right. But at the same time, that's actually been a part of my gratitude rituals in the mornings where I will go through, like, I'll be thankful for my physical body, right? And I will just sit there and I will go through and list all the things I can think about for my body that I'm thankful for. And it's like, there's so many things when you actually focus on it.
Mhm,
Your fingers, your hands, your out whatever.
mhm,
It's like, how many people do you know that have ailments, that have issues? And if you do have issues, where do you not have issues?
mhm.
It's powerful. So good
Sure.
stuff. Thanks for
Yeah.
sharing, Charity.
Or even raising your hands above your head is supposed to be like really get your body going. You know, when you would do that, like bust that move out or doing your hands above your head, even those little movements can change the energy in your body, which can change
Yeah.
your mindset, which leads to more motivation and that beautiful ripple effect of the things we've been talking about.
Yeah, there is something to be said about changing your moving your body to change your biochemistry
Mhm.
to feel better. 100%. Cool. Good chat.
Yay.
I will see you guys soon,
Thank
and,
you.
I think that's it. I'll put a link somewhere if you're interested in working with Charity or any of our coaches, you can apply to work with us and, yeah, learn more about what we do. Okay, bye.
Bye.